Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode in our Fullstack for Development series, where we are building a social media app similar to Instagram from scratch using React, TypeScript, Firebase, and Uploadcare. If you have missed the previous video, then I recommend to check that out. You can just click on the card above and jump to it directly. Now let me show you the demo application that we have deployed on Firebase. Alright guys, so this is our application. We have deployed it on Firebase, so you can just access the application. You can find the link in the description of the video. Now what I will do is I will just go to sign up and create a new user with steven@gmail.com. Then we are going to give the password. I will give the confirm password and I'm going to click on login. And you will see that this has created a new user, and we see that we have a guest user here because we don't have the username yet, as this user has logged in via email. And you will also see that there is a list of suggested users here. So what I will do is I will first go and change the name. So I will edit profile. I'm going to have the Steven here and I'm going to click on update, and you will see that this will update the Steven here. And if I go to home, then we see we have the Steven here and the list of suggested friends. Now if I log out and if I log in with another user, then we will see that we have a logged in user information here and the list of suggested friends. So I'm going to log out, and this time let's have a new user, maybe Frank. So I will have a Frank and I will give the password and I'm going to click on login, and you will see here we have Frank, and here you will see that you also have a Steven as a suggested friends. So we are fetching this list from the user. So if we go to the Firestore database, if we go to the user profile, then these are the list of the users that we have, and we are fetching the profiles of the user and we are just filtering out the logged in user and then display it. And the other thing that we are going to see in this video is how we can deploy our application to the Firebase. So if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so before we jump into the code, I want to share an inspiring journey of Jitendra Kumar, who did his engineering from a tier 3 college, and due to the COVID, colleges and universities were forced to shut down and there were no campus placements. But somehow Jitendra relocated to Bangalore and he managed to get into Capgemini, where he started his tech journey. But soon he understood that he needs to upgrade his technical skills and bridge the gap between academic and the industry requirement. And that's where he found OdinSchool and the React Web Development Bootcamp. So it's a live bootcamp where you will have industry experts as your live instructors. The bootcamp will help you to become job ready in just 3 months. You will get project-based learning and you will get an exposure to the unlimited job opportunities. Now let's discuss why to attend this demo. So when you attend this demo, you will get the industry overview and you will get the pathway to land a web development job. Along with that, there will be a Q&A session where you can ask all the questions about the course, and you will also have exclusive rewards throughout the session. Now, who can join this demo? So for anyone who wants to create a successful career in web development, if you are a fresher and you want to launch your career into web development, or you are an experienced professional who wants to upgrade their technical skills, or anyone who is a job seeker and want to come back after a career gap, this demo is exactly for you. You'll also see that here are some of the peers who have successfully been placed with the help of the OdinSchool React Bootcamp. Let me give you an overview of the projects that you are going to build in this live bootcamp. So you're going to build the shopping cart app with your personal touch. You will create a movie listing app, a video player app, then you will have a music player app, and you will have a bank web app. OdinSchool have 500 plus hiring partners, and that's where you get unlimited opportunities once you complete their bootcamp. So if you want to book your demo, you just need to fill up this small form and then you can just book a demo, and it's an absolutely free. You don't need to pay anything for this demo. You will find all the links related to the OdinSchool and the demo in the description of the video so that you can check it out later on. Now let's get back to our project. Alright guys, now let's work on this right hand side section where we will have the list of suggested users to become friends. So let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and in the Visual Studio Code, if we go to the layout, then you will see that we have this user list, and in this user list we need to display all the suggested users. So let's go on this component and then work on it. So I'm going to go to the user list, and this is how our user list looks like. So first what we need to do is we need to fetch all the list of users that we want to display, and that we can do, we can just fetch all the user profiles. So if we go to our Firestore database, then we have this users, and you will see that we have all the users here. So we can just fetch all the list of users and then we can just display them. So what I will do is I will first go to the repository, then user service, and here we will create a new function. So I'm going to go here. I will have export constant and then get all users, and this will be equals to an arrow function. So let's have an arrow function, and we can just use async here. All right, now once we have it, we will also do one thing is we will not display the logged in user as a suggested user list. So we will just do a filter on it. So here we will take a user ID, and this will be of type string, and we are just taking this user ID because we want to filter out the suggested users. So here let's have a try catch block, and in the catch what I will do is I will simply log the error. So I will have console log, and I will log the error here. Now in the try block, what we will do is first let's have a constant, and we're going to receive a query snapshot whenever we use get docs. So I'm going to have the get docs, and in the get docs we will pass the collection. So we need to pass the DB instance and our collection name. So this is going to give us the query snapshot. Now if we have the query snapshot, we will just check the size. So I'm going to have the query snapshot dot size, and if this is greater than 0, then in that case we will do something else. We are just going to log that we don't have any documents. So I'm going to have the console log, and we will have no such documents. All right, or maybe there is no user profile to fetch. Now once we have this, what I will do is we are just going to loop through. So we will have the query snapshot dot for each, which is going to give us an individual doc. So let's have this individual doc, and this is very similar what we have done in get all the post. So if we go and if we see, then we can just take a reference. So here is the get all post. So what I will do is I will just take this, or maybe we will just write it. So if we go back here, then we have the doc. So first let's take the data. So I'm going to have the user data, which will be equals to the doc data, and we can just cast this into the user profile. All right, so we have already created the user profile interface here. So if we go here, then we see that we have this user profile. Now I will also create one more variable which will be a temp array. So I will have a constant, I will have the temp array, and this will be type of the profile response. So we will have the profile response array, which will be equals to an empty array initially. This profile response also, we can see that we have it here. So the only difference between the user profile and the profile response is that the profile response have an ID additionally, the document ID. Okay, so we go here, and now let's create a constant data, or maybe response object. So let's have the response obj, which will be of type profile response, and that will be equals to a object, and here we are going to have the ID. So the ID will be the doc dot ID, and the rest will be the data that we have, maybe the user data. So I'm going to have the user data. All right, once we have the response object, we will just push this response object into the temporary array. So I'm going to have the temp array dot push, and then we are going to push the response object. Once we have the response object push, then we will just return this temporary array. So I will go here, and then let's return it. So we will return the temporary array, but if we return the temporary array directly, then we will get all the users, but we only want to display the users other than the logged in user. So what I will do is I will just filter out those users. So I will have the temporary array dot filter, and this is going to give me a item. Then we will just do that if the item dot user ID, if it's not equals to the user ID, then we just need to return it. So this is going to return all the users except the logged in user. Now we can just take this temporary array. So let's go and let's use this get all users function. So I'm going to go here, and here first let's create the state variable. So I will have a constant, I will have the suggested user, then I will have the set suggested user, and this will be equals to the use state, and the type of it will be the profile response array, and we will just give the initial. So initially it will be an empty array. All right, once we have this, we are going to create a function to fetch the users. So I will have the constant get all suggested users, or maybe get suggested users, and this will be equals to an arrow function. And here we will have a constant response, and this response will be equals to the await. I will just use the async here, and this will be equals to the get all users from the user service. All right, and for this function we are going to pass the user ID, which will be a type of string, and we are just going to pass the user ID here as well. Now we will also do one thing, that if it's not, then we are also going to provide the empty array. Now what I will do is, once we have the response, we are just going to set it in the suggested users, and let's have the response there. Now we have this. Now we just need to make a call to this function. So for that we need to make use of a use effect. So let's have the use effect, and this use effect will have an arrow function, and inside this what we will do is we will have to make a check first. So before that, let's have a information about the logged in user. So I will have the user, and we can use it from the use user auth, which is our context API. Now we have access to the logged in user. So what I will do is I will just make a check here, that if user.uid is not equals to null, then in that case I want to make a call to the get suggested users, and I have to pass the user ID. So I will have the UID here. I want to make this call only once, so I will put an empty array. Alright, so now we have this. We also have the suggested user. If we want to log, we can just log it. So what I will do is I will have the console.log, and I will have the response is, and this will be equals to the response. Let's go and let's check. So if I go to the browser, if I go here, then here we first see that we have only two users, John Day, and the other one is D Malvia. So what I will do is I will go here, I will log out, create a new user. So maybe this new user will be Frank. Alright, I have signed up. Now if I go to the inspect element, if we go to the console, then we can just see that if I go to profile, then this is our user, guest user Frank, and what we will do is we will just change the name here. So the name is Frank, so that it will get updated. Alright, I will have the Frank dot, and I'm going to click on update. So now it's updated, and if we go to the home, and let me clear this, and I will refresh it, then here we should see that the response is, and we see that we have two users here. And you will also notice that these two users are the different users other than the logged in user, whereas if we go here and check, then we have three users. So that's where we are just filtering out the logged in user, and we display only the user that are suggested. Now let's go and let's display them here. So what I will do is I will go here, and we need to first have the JSX part. So let's write the JSX. So I'm going to go here, I will have it here a div, and the div has a class. So I will have a class as white text, and then I will have the padding at y-axis 8 and padding as x-axis as 3. Inside that I'm going to have a div, and on that I will have a class name as flex. I will have the flex row. I will have my items in the center. Then I need to have a border at bottom. We're going to have the padding bottom as 4, margin bottom as 4. Let's give a border color, so border gray 400, and we are going to have the cursor pointer. Now on this we are going to display the user information first, the logged in user information actually. So we are going to have a span here, and I'm going to give the class name as margin right 2. Alright, and below that I'm going to have an image, then I will have a source to that image, and this will be a self-closing. Now on this source, so what we will do is we are going to have that if our logged in user dot has a photo URL, then in that case I want to display the user photo URL. So let's have the user photo URL, and if not, then I will just simply display the avatar, which is our default image. So let's import the avatar. So I will go here, I will have import, and this will be coming from the @assets/images/our avatar png. All right, so we have this image. If we want to check, we can go and check. So if I go here, then we see this is how the image looks like, but we need to make it a little bit nicer. So let's have some styling here. So what I will do is I'm going to add some classes here. So our width will be 10, height will be 10, it will be a rounded full so that we get it into a circle. Then we are going to have a border as 2, and let's have the border color. So I'm going to use border slate, which will be 800, and then I'm going to use the object cover. All right, so now we should have this small profile image, and let's have the username, the logged in username, so that we can display it here. So I will have another span here. So let's go here, and then I will have another span, and on this span I will just simply have a class name. So let's give a class name, and let's use the text. So I want the small text. All right, and we display the information here. So if our user has a display name, then in that case let's have the user display name, otherwise we are going to have the guest user. So let me have the guest user. All right, so we go and see, then we have the Frank here, because Frank is our username. So if we want to check, we can go to the profile. We see this is the Frank user which is logged in, and when we click on it, we should be redirected to the profile. So let's have a link there. So I'm going to have a link. All right, I will have a 2 on that link, which will be equals to /profile. So it will take me to the profile. All right, I will cut it, and then I will just put it here. All right, so we have this. Now if I go here, then I will go to the profile page. So this is also one of the link we have created. Now let's put the suggestion list here. So I will go to this link, and below the link what I will do is I will have an h3. Let's have a class name here, and I will put the text as sm text slate as 300, and we are going to have here suggested friends. All right, and in this suggested friends, below the h3, what we will do is we are going to create a div. We're going to have a class name margin y as 4. All right, and then here what we can do is we can just have a condition. So if we have a suggested user dot length greater than 0, then in that case we need to display something, else nothing we are going to display here. And here what we can do is we can just create a function for render users, and we can call this function. Now let's write this render user function. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, and I will have a constant render user, which will be equals to an arrow function. All right, and then we will just return the suggested user dot map. Let's map, and let's have the JSX for that part. So I'm going to have a map. I will have a individual user, which will be an arrow function. Now let's return that. So I'm going to return a JSX here. And what we will have here is, let's have a div first. I'm going to give a class name to this div as flex row. Then I will have the items as center, margin bottom as 4, border gray as 400. So let's have a border gray, and then we are going to have the justify at start. All right, now here we are going to have the profile image and the username, and along with that we also have a follow button. So let's have the JSX. So I'm going to have a span. All right, and on the span I will have a class name, margin right will be 2. All right, then we are going to have an image. I will have the source, and let's close that image. And here what we will do is we are going to have this user dot photo URL. So if we have it, then we are going to display the user dot photo URL, else we are going to display the avatar image. Okay, and then we need to provide the classes. So the class name will be very similar what we have it here. So I will just do a copy paste. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to put it here. All right, now if we go and see, then we see that these are the 2 other images or the user profile pictures that we have. Now below this, what we need to do is we will also need to display the username. So I will have the span. Let's have the class name as text -xs small text, and then we are going to have the user dot display name. And if the user doesn't have a display name, then we will use the guest user. So let's have the user dot display name, else let's have the guest user. All right, and the third one is we need to create the button. So let's have the button, and on this button I'm going to give the class name as text xs small text, padding as 3, padding y as 2, height as 6, background, let's have the background slate maybe 900, and then I will have the last one, the last button of the list. I'm going to use the margin left as auto, and inside this we just need to have a follow, so that will be the text. All right, so we have the follow. Now let's go and let's check. So now you will see that we have this follow, and we also have the user list. Now if I log out and if I log in with another user, then we will see the different here. So I will just log out. All right, and let me create a new user, maybe Dave. And now you will see that we have the different user. We have Dipesh, John, Dave, we have Frank, and we have this new guest user. So if I go to the profile, I will update, and I will update the name as Dave. All right, and I can also change the profile picture. So let me have a new profile picture for Dave, and that could be this one. I will click open, I will click on done, and then I will click on update, and you see that we have this updated image here. Now if we go here, then we will see that we have the updated image here as well, and we have the name as Dave. So now we have this user list, and this way you can also have the user list and you can extend more features for this app. So you can have this follow information, you can also build a search functionality where you will search, and you can also work more on the stories. So I'm not going to build more features on this application, and if you want me to build these features, then just put it in the comment and I will try to build that and create a video on that. Now the last part of this project which I want to show you is how we can deploy this project in Firebase. So what I will do is let's go back here and I will open the terminal, because now we want to deploy this project. So let me open the terminal. All right, and in the terminal I'm going to cancel this, and the first thing we will do is I will just clear the console, and the first thing we will need to do is we need to install the Firebase tools. So I will have the npm install -g, and you will have the Firebase -tools. All right, and I will hit enter, and let's see how it goes. All right, so I see that I get an error, and that error maybe I don't have enough permission. So what I will do is I will clear it and I will use the same command, but now I'm going to use it sudo so that I can have higher privileges. Let's try. I will give the password. So now you will see that my Firebase tool is installed. Now the next thing we will need to do is I will have to log into the Firebase. So I will have the Firebase login. All right, so it says that you have already logged into this Firebase account, but I want to use a different Firebase account. So let me log out first. So I will have a log out, and it will say that logged out from this one. And now I'm going to log into my another account. So let's have a Firebase login again, and I will just put it yes here. And here I will choose which account I want to log in. So I want to log into this account. So I'm going to click here. I will click on continue, allow, and you will see that the Firebase login is successful. Now let's go back here, and we see that successfully logged into this Firebase account. All right, I will just clear the console. And the third step what we need to do is we need to first initialize the Firebase. So I will have the Firebase init here, and I will just increase this. So I will have the Firebase init, and this is going to initialize the Firebase to this project. And here we need to select the list of features that we are using. So what I'm using is we are using a Firestore database. So I'm going to go there and I will have the space bar so it will get selected. Then we are also using the hosting configure files. So here I want to host the application to the Firebase, so I'm going to select this. Then we are not going to select any other thing, I guess. Yep. Now let's hit enter. All right, and here it will ask use an existing project or create new project. I'm going to use an existing project, and these are my Firebase projects. So the project which I want to use is this one, the photogram EF986. So I'm going to select that, and it is going to do the Firestore setup. Now for the Firestore setup, I will just click enter, go with the default Firestore rules. I will go with the default Firestore indexes JSON. And for this, what do you want to use as a public directory? Since we are using the wheat, so for that we will not go with the public directly. We are going to use the dist folder, because whenever we are going to build the application for production, all the files will be going into the dist. So we have this public directory as dist. Then we are going to use the yes. I will use no. We don't set up automatic deployments via GitHub. And now the Firebase initialization is complete. The next step we need to do is we need to build this project. So let's have the npm run build, and this is going to build our application for production. So what I will do is let's go in the package JSON. So I'm going to go to the package JSON, and in the package JSON for the scripts we will use this build, which is going to compile our TSC, which is the TypeScript code, and then it is use the build. So let's build that. All right, so now if we see, then we have a couple of errors in the files. So we really need to solve these errors first. So let's start one by one. So I will go to the postcard first. So let's go to the postcard. All right, and in the postcard, if we see, then we have this error. So what I will do is I'm going to add an exclamation here to just tell that this will not be a null, and I will also put an exclamation here to tell that this will not be a null. And we will also need to make an exclamation question mark here. All right, and now let's go and let's check. All right, we will also solve the other errors one by one. So now let's go to the sidebar. So if I go to the sidebar, and if I see there, so this is the error I have, I will just remove it. Now we see that we have less errors, so let's work on that. So first we will go to the postcard index.tsx. Let's go to the postcard and I will remove this. So to solve this error, what we have to do is if we hover on it, then it says that argument string is not assignable to parameter type never. So what we can do is we can go and check, and we just have to define a string here so that it will be a string array, and we will also have a string here. So this will be a string array. So now in the postcard, if we see, then we don't have any errors, and here also we don't have any errors. So that was a mistake when we actually built the interface for this one. Now let's try to rebuild the app, and now you will see that it's building for production and the application is built now. And then what we have to do is, once the application is built, we just have to deploy this application. So to deploy, what we will do is we will use the Firebase deploy, and we will use a flag -- only, and we will use hosting. Alright, I will hit enter, and this is actually going to deploy our application to the Firebase. So here you will see that it's uploading all the files and everything, and the deployment is complete. Now we can just access the application on this URL. So I will just copy. Let's go here and let's put it here, and we see that this is how our application looks like. So let's log in with a Frank. So I'm going to log in with Frank, and I will have my password. I'm going to click on login, and this is how the application looks like. So we have this user where we have the user profile. If I click on it, we will go to the profile. On the home page, we see the list of users and their post. Now we can just create a new post. So I will go and add a new post. I will just upload the picture. Maybe I will upload this one. So I'm going to click open, and it will upload to the Uploadcare CDN. I'm going to click here, and I will just have how to build React apps faster. I will click on the post, and you will see that we have this post created. Now here you don't see the image, so let's go and let's fix that. So what I will do is I'm going to go to the profile. I'm going to upload a profile picture for the Frank. So maybe Frank will have this profile picture. I'm going to click open. I will click done, and then I will click on update, and we have the updated one. So now Frank should have a profile image here. All right, we can also like it, and we will see that all the features are working. Frank is logged in, so we don't see Frank in this list. If we log in with another user, let's log in with Dave this time, and I'm going to have the password. I will click on login, and now we logged in with Dave, and we don't see Dave in the list as a suggested friends. So that's how we completed this application. Now you can just go and enhance more features like search bar, stories, and follow button. But if you want me to add more features to the app, please let me know in the comment section, and I will do it for you. So that's all I have in this project. I hope you like this project. It was a big project where we divided the project into 3 episodes, but overall there was a lot of learning while building this project using the React, TypeScript, or whether it's a Firebase. So I hope you liked the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.